As I said, were really difficult. We got in on Monday morning and let's just say we had a long chat. And I heard my views, so did my staff, and so did the players, which I was happy with, because I've said before, I think we've been too quiet. So it was good. And then we got to training Monday, obviously, to prepare for this game tomorrow night.
We know how you feel about it, given what you've said sort of on multiple occasions now, but from what the players said to you, you say you're happy with that. Could you give us a sort of inclination as to what you got back from them that's made you a bit more positive?
I would rather keep it in-house, if I'm being honest with you. But I just thought at the time was right to go and spend a bit of time with them. Go through a lot of things that I'm clearly wasn't happy with. And it's good to get their point of view as well, because we really need to get to the bottom of it, because it's been a real issue. But as I said, I came out of the meeting, training was bubbly on Monday. That's what I want. I don't want MD moping about and being unhappy. There was a lot of things said. And then again, we had a good training session on Tuesday. We're totally clear in what way we're going to approach the rest of the season, not just tomorrow night. And today's session, again, I come away from really happy with.
Can you give us an idea as to how you're going to approach the rest of the season then?
I knew you were going to ask that. You'll see 75 minutes before. You'll see when the team comes out, and you'll see when the game starts.
And just finally from me, it is $1 million question, but are you able to, you've been at the door for a couple of months now, are you able to put a finger on why you're getting these mixed performances, the highs to the really low lows?
I've got a good idea, and that's why I done a lot of thinking over the weekend, and that's why I held a real good meeting with my group of players and my staff. And as I said, there was a lot of things that came out which was good, because I want people to be opinionated, I want people to debate with each other, and I found it really helpful. And now, hopefully going forward, I'll start to see a bit more consistency, because that's something that we've certainly not showed over the season. We've done it, played really well, if I'm being honest with you, in some games. In other games, it's just been a total different team. And that's something that, as I said, that hopefully we've got to the bottom of. We can move on. That's in the past now, and we need to obviously look forward to the future.
Barry, one of the big things I picked up on watching that performance again on Saturday was how negative the team becomes within itself. Mm-hmm. Individuals will not try and break lines, they'll not try and be aggressive in forward passing and things, and they seem to come right into their shell, which means they go backwards, side to side, easy things with the ball. Mm-hmm. Having analysed that, do you agree with that, and how do you fix that?
Yeah, I think it affects them when you go a goal down early on, or a mistake happens within the team. I think it affects the team. And I keep saying to them, there's plenty of minutes left in the game, and I want to see players go and take the ball in difficult situations. Look, I can accept mistakes and I can accept poor performances, but what I can't accept is people going and wanting the ball in difficult circumstances, and that's something we've spoken about at length. And as I said, hopefully going forward you'll see a difference, but the proof will be in the pudding come tomorrow night. But I'm expecting a total different performance tomorrow night, and it's not just in European games as well. I know what you're talking about domestically. 5 games without a win at Ibrox, it's just nowhere near good enough.
The second thing I wanted to ask you as well is there's been obviously a lot highlighted on individual performances. Uh-huh. One of the biggest ones, obviously, the goalkeeper, and at the other end, the striker. Yep. Cyril Dessers, I think his conversion rate in the last 3 games is 1 in 20 odd chances. Mm-hmm. At what point do you decide, yeah, it's great that we're getting in positions and things, but that you have to switch up? Because we have Danilo sitting here that you've not really given a chance to yet. Are you considering maybe game time for him?
In terms of Cyril, I would be more concerned if Cyril Dessers didn't get into the positions. That's what I've been concerned about. In terms of, am I considering other people to play? Of course am I. I told you on Saturday that there will be some changes. You just need to wait to see what the changes are tomorrow night. But listen, I've told everybody now, there's places up for grabs. You need to, when you go into my team and you play, you need to earn your right to play in the team. And I've had to make, or I probably will have to make, some difficult decisions going forward. I've had to make some difficult decisions since I've come into the job. But it's one thing I'm not afraid to do, to try and better the team. But I've got a job to pick the 11 that I think is the 11 that will go and win the game. And that's what I've done for tomorrow night.
Gabs?
Barry, looking ahead to tomorrow night, the Europa League's been a shining light in the season for this club so far. How important is it for you and for everyone here that you do try everything to reach that semi-final?
First and foremost, I think European games have been at a high level for Rangers this season. They've performed really well, and what an opportunity they've got. Started watching Bilbao Monday morning. I don't know how many games now we've watched as a staff. They're a very good team. We're under no illusions that it's going to be a tough task. So we've worked hard over the last couple of days on what we were going to set up in terms of stopping them dictating the game, because we're at home and we have to dictate the game to them. We have to take the game to Bilbao. So, yeah, we're set up, and we're going to give it everything to try and get a good result to take over there next Thursday.
Just the gentleman at the back, please. Barry,
Sí.
Where is it?
Mister.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, José Manuel Monge, Onda Vasca, Vizcaya. ¿Dónde va a estar el partido? ¿En lo físico?
What will the game
técnico,
come down to? Will it be physical, technical, mental? What do you think?
I think it will be a mixture of the three that you just mentioned.
Okay.
There. Physical, we have to be more physical in our game. Technically, I think we've got some good players, but so are Bilbao. So I think it will be a mixture. We need to bring a mixture of the three things that I've just mentioned there to the game to try and obviously get a positive result to take over there next Thursday.
Barry, can I ask you about Jack Butland? You were asking about him there. I mean, is that one of the big decisions you've got to make? Have you had a conversation with him specifically? And where do you think his head is at right now?
I'm not going to say whether I've had a conversation with Jack or any other player. You just need to find out. Listen, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you this is who I'm going to play and this is the formation I'm going to play. I'd be crazy to do that. So look, we'll just need to wait and see the decisions that are going to be made for tomorrow night. But what I will do is I'll make a decision based on what I think is right for us to get a positive result. And in terms of players make mistakes and players maybe underperforming, look, that's part and parcel of football. It's tough at times. Look, I've been through many stages myself, and there is a few players maybe not playing at a level what they would want and what I would expect. But in terms of changes, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's going to be happening.
Is it fair to say, though, why that's something you are having to think about, or because it's the goalkeeper, is that a different situation?
I'm having to think about the full team, Robert. I'm having to think about the full team. I said that on Saturday when I come up and done my presser. I was angry, I was frustrated, I was a mixture of emotions. I thought I raised some of that out of our game, but look, it was clear. It was clear as day that you could see that there's some issues that we had to sort. And hopefully the positive week we've had, the positive 3 days we've had together, we'll see that difference tomorrow night.
And do you think, finally for me, do you think that the players have seen the anger that you've shown in the back of the weekend, and is that maybe going to get the response that you're looking for? Because they've seen in your eyes what it kind of means to you and what it should mean to them.
Yeah, not just me, my staff as well and the supporters. I mean, the place emptied on Saturday, and when I'm standing at the touchline, that's tough. That's a sore one to take when you see your own supporters, and do you know what? I can't blame them. So, us as a group, me as a manager, we're the only people that can do something about that.
Sorry.
Barry, I know it's a different competition and different teams, but obviously one of your old colleagues and teammates, Mikel Arteta, last night, and what Arsenal managed to do. Do you take inspiration from old colleagues and friends and teammates who do special things like that. Would you watch something like that last night and get inspired by it?
You're gonna. I never even watched the game last night. You know what I was watching last night? Yeah, I was watching Athletic Bilbao. That's what I was watching. But I seen the result late on last night. Look, he's doing a brilliant job. What a result from against clearly the favourites to win the Champions League. Do I take inspiration for that? Listen, it's great to see ex-teammates in jobs where they're under pressure to win games. Brilliant to see. But my only focus is on this club here and making sure that I get a reaction from what we all seen on Saturday.
Gentleman at the back.
Again. Hi, Barry, don't worry. You told us that Athletic is an incredible team. What worries you more about the Athletic? What worries you more about Athletic?
Look, they've got, in my opinion, they've got quality all over the team. Certainly in the wide areas, you've got the two brothers Williams. They're going to be a real handful. But I look at midfield, technically very good, very hard working, defensively really solid. So we know as a group of players that we have to be at the top of our game to try and get a result.
Barry, obviously you said you'd watched all of Rangers games before you came into the club. You know, you saw them against Spurs and Man United and Leon. How do Bilbao compare to them?
Good question. Yeah, I would probably say they're the favourites for the competition. Favourites for the competition. So we know we've got it's a tough ask for us. But these games, I keep going back to it, as a footballer, as a coaching staff, as a manager, these are the games you want to be involved in. You want to go and pit your wits against some of the best, and I think they've got real quality in their team. And I've said that to the players over the last couple of days. This is what being a footballer is all about. These big nights at Ibrox, the fans coming in, their support, playing under the floodlights, can't get any better.
Just three more guys, John.
Barry said before the last round that Fenerbahce were going to be a step up on anything he'd faced, or Rangers had faced previously.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us an idea where you see Bilbao in relation to Fenerbahce?
A step up again. That's me being straight, a step up again. I watched both of them played each other. Watched that game. Look, Fenerbahce, in my opinion, were, as I said, one of the favourites. But when you go and you watch this team, as I said, they've got a very British style about them. They can go and play out for the back, but also they're not scared to go long. So we need to be ready for all aspects of that. Can we stop them playing out? If they go long, can we be physical against them and make sure we're handling the runners? So these are all the different scenarios over the last couple of days that we've went through. And the guys are clear in what they have to do to try and get a positive result tomorrow.
Ronnie?
Barry, you mentioned the sort of issues that needing addressed and the changes you may have to make. I remember you mentioned on Saturday that wasn't a Rangers team that you saw. Is there a mental aspect to that? And is enough to perform, be a Rangers team, not just now, but going forward as well?
I've seen aspects in certain games mentally strong, but other games they're just way off it. You can't be like that. You can't. It's not just a switch that you can turn off and on, and that's the case. That's what we've done. As I said, the big games are the ones generally are the easy ones that you don't really need to motivate. It's the other games that's became a real issue, and that's something again that we spoke about as a group at length, and hopefully we've got to the bottom of it. Sorry, should I say?
Martin and Chris to finish, please.
Barry, you talked about the changes that you might make, and obviously you won't go into detail in that. Has there been any temptation to go with the same guys, or is it just a case of you've maybe had enough?
Yeah, there is that part as well, that when you give such a poor performance that you'll go and give them another chance. There's also thoughts that have gone through my head that they need to change it, whether that's personnel, whether that's system. And as I said to you after the game, it was a long couple of days for me, but I was more than prepared to make sure I get this right I need to sort this. I'm the guy that's sitting in the hot seat tonight, just now, and I'm the guy that's tasked with making sure that we start to get results on a consistent basis, because I keep going back to it. That's been the Achilles heel all season. There's been issues, and clearly, when I thought that I was getting there, that obviously we suffered that result, and we give that sort of performance. So, as I said, there's been a lot of things going through my head. I've went and made a decision, which will be in my shoulders, and then we'll hopefully see a real positive performance and result from what way I'm going to go about it.
Barry, you mentioned the fans in the crowd a couple of times. Can you still count on that backing after 5 successive defeats here? And is there a fear, for your perspective, that the crowd could actually work against you rather than for you on a night like this, given what they've seen and what they've experienced of late?
I've no fear in terms of them coming and supporting us at the start of the game, but we have to dictate from the stands. We need to go and give a performance, and if we do that, then the fans will get right behind us. And as I said, I've no issue. That was tough, standing in the touchlines, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, watching the place empty. I can't be having that. My players can't be having that. That's a sore one to take, and that's been in the back of my mind since Saturday. So I'll go back to what I said. Myself, my staff, and the players, we're the only ones that can affect that now going forward. So when you come into certain games, I honestly believe that fans can't accept you no playing at the level, but what they can't accept is seeing a team dig deep, run harder, tackle harder, all the things that I mentioned on Saturday. And that's what I have to see from my team going forward. Because if that's not going to be the case, then you're not going to be in the team.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
one that got no for Rangers, Hart. So Liam, what did you think of the second goal? Did you see the area of the six that flew past you? How did you feel after that?
Good afternoon, everybody. Middle seat. That's what you meant. I thought you were talking about stadium. Where's the... That's new to me. 17 years of football, never had to do this. So, buenos dias to the Spanish colleagues over here.
That's just for my questions, Leon.
Guys, we'll get started, okay? So,
can I mute them?
Barry, you can have the microphone before you start. Keith, can you start yourself, please?
Hi, Leon. The manager has just said that he's had a lot of conversations with the players since Saturday, and he said he's happy, he's pleased with what he's heard in response to his criticism. Has there been some harsh words behind the scenes?
I think it was just a very straightforward and honest conversation which needed to be held, because we all know that recent performances, domestically especially, haven't been good enough. I mean, if you lose 5 on the spin at Ibrox, at this club, it's not something you should be able to accept. So, yeah, it was very open, no filter, but with a very positive outcome in the end.
Do you, as a player, do you feel that conversation needed to take place for you to move forward?
Probably, if you see what has come off of it, I'm sure you understand. I cannot give you any nitty-gritty there, but if you see how the conversation went and how honest and straightforward it was, and what we started to talk about, there were definitely some things that needed to be said, that needed to be heard, and like I said, it led to a positive outcome as a group.
For you, watching on Saturday, obviously you didn't play. How difficult was that, not just to watch the performance, but I suppose to see the stands emptying as well after about an hour?
I mean, it's a tough one. It's not my right to tell people how to support us. I think they've been outstanding. They are outstanding the majority of the time. If you look at our season, you can probably show some empathy. Would I like to see something different and for most of them to stay until the final whistle? Yes. Can I understand their frustration and their disappointment? Definitely. So it's hard for me to really... I wouldn't judge on it, but obviously it's tough because they can give you so much, and at the same time I think everybody also understands what it means to the fans in that moment when they decide to take that option. So it's on us to turn things around.
Stevie?
Leon, I spoke to the manager about the performance on Saturday, and one of the things that I highlighted with him and asked him if he agreed was the players being brave on the ball, on and off the ball, just making herself available, taking the ball, etc. Not, I don't want to say hiding, but sometimes when things aren't going well, you take the easy pass or you do the easy thing instead of trying to break lines, instead of trying to do that. How do you, as a group, become brave and trust yourself and get that? Do you know what I'm trying to ask? How do you discover that when you look at the performance on Sunday? There was a lot of that in the game. So how do you fix that ahead of tomorrow night?
How do we fix to be braver? Is that what you're asking? How do we become brave on the ball and, like you said, do not hide? I think we need to live through those difficult moments, but also remember that we do have the quality to do it, because I think we've shown it more than enough this season, despite the ups and downs. And it's just about repetition, and it's about upping your own standard, holding yourself accountable first and foremost. Remember that, or know that you can do better. One or another might need a bit of a ruffle. Another one just needs maybe, I don't know, a night to sleep over it and then just shake it off. But it's about going out there and do it again, and that's the beauty of playing at the club like Rangers, that you have the next game always a few days later. And I think it's a very good game tomorrow to show that you can do a lot better and a good test.
Ronnie?
Leon, there's been a lot of hurdles this season. It seems as if it's one step forward, two steps back a lot of the time with this team. You mentioned the honest conversations. Why should fans believe that these honest conversations will fix it when there have been so much irregularities throughout the season?
Again, I can't dictate on someone's behavior or on their thoughts or their decision making. It's on us, like I said before, to make them believe. And I think that's pretty much my answer. We have to prove it. I said it's on us. We have to turn things around. And the only way to do that is to follow words with action.
Fraser?
Leon, you mentioned the 5 defeats in a row at Ibrox, which has never happened before in Rangers history. Is there a problem playing at Ibrox for this group of players?
I think you would have to ask each player individually. Again, you look at performances here that we had in the past, and then you might think it's hard to say that. You can't really put your finger on it. I think that overall we just lack consistency this season. Can't say if it's down to the fact that it's Ibrox. I'd like not to think so, just based on my own experience here. Yes, I've been in some tough games, but overall it's a joy to be here, to play in front of 50,000 every single game. So I would like to think that this is not a problem. It's more a problem of consistency. It just makes it worse that it happens to be the season that at Ibrox we seem to struggle more than ever.
Do you think you owe the fans then a big home performance?
I think I've said that before, yeah, in the few questions that have been asked before. There's things to make up for, definitely. As much as there have been things, I think, this season that we gave back to them. But we need to give them more of those moments. That's, I think, undisputable. Yeah.
Leon, a lot has been made this season about Rangers' domestic form compared to European form. Can you, as players, put your finger on why you've saved some of your best performances for Europe?
I can't, to be very honest. I think if we could, then we would have fixed it by now. What hurts a bit is that you obviously hear that people are saying that we only turn up for those big games. And at the moment, there's some truth in it, and that hurts, and that must hurt every single one of us. And again, it comes down to turning things around. But then again, it's probably not tomorrow's game where we can prove that, but it's the domestic games, like last weekend, where we have to show that.
Leon, in forward areas, Bilbao are a side that excel in 1v1 situations. They try to put defenders in their positions. Does that change anything with regard to your game plan? And do you feel that's the strongest part of your own game?
I'm really sorry. Can you just repeat the first part? Because I was trying to find you.
Bilbao are a side who in forward areas certainly excel in 1v1 situations. That's what they try to put defenders in. Does that change anything in your preparation, your game plan? And would you say that's the strongest part of your own game?
I think it's a very big part of any defender's game. And it's definitely going to be a challenge tomorrow. They've got some real good quality up there. But this is what you embrace. Again, it's a very special game. It's a quarterfinal of the Europa League. So that itself makes it massive already. But personally, I don't prepare any different. I just try to have a nice afternoon to wind down a bit. And then obviously you look at the players. There's not too much to look at, not because there's not enough to see, but because it's pretty much known. But then it's just preparing for the game. It's the quarterfinal, like I said before, it's massive. They are special, and a lot of things can happen in these games. They're not one-off, but sort of, because the occasion is that big. And then again, it's about bravery and backing yourself, believing in yourself, reminding yourself of what you're capable of, and then enjoy it, really.
Do you want any more detail on individual players per se? You know, would you look at an individual more detailed in their tendencies and where they'd want to come in the field?
Not really, no. I mean, we've got all the tools from our club's analysts who are amazing. That's for every game, though. So you look at their clips. If there's something that stands out, they point it out. But other than that, I think as a professional footballer, you should be able to identify the strong points of the opposition. So looking at the clips should be enough normally. And then obviously tomorrow is going to be a lot about the collective as well.
Leon, it's a kind of related question, but Nico Williams is obviously a player that a lot of people are talking about. You will have watched him, I guess. And are you excited about taking on a player like that and trying to cope with him?
Definitely. It's going to be a big challenge, but I think it's a big challenge for any player in the world who plays against him these days. And I think it's a privilege to be able to play against these type of players. I remember when we went all the way to Seville 3 years ago. I was desperate to play against Haaland, but he wasn't fit for the games. In hindsight, maybe it was better that he didn't play. We don't know, but I think this is the type of mindset you need to have. Yes, they are really good players, or more than really good, world class, some of them, but those are the games. Those are the type of matches that you dream of when you're a young boy. So we should just embrace it and be joyful about it, and make sure that we have something to take joy out of it as well.
Last couple, Martin, please.
Leon, given what's been happening domestically, given the sort of nature of questions you're getting now and the manager got before, is it fair to say, or what is the mood in the dressing room now? Is it fair to say it's not a happy place?
It definitely wasn't a happy place after Sunday, but we were all pretty clear on the fact that now we are in a quarterfinal. It is separate from what's happening domestically. That's a fact. And we have to focus on that. And there's a lot to look forward to. There's a massive opportunity for the players, for the club. So, to me, the last 2 days were pretty positive. I mean, everybody's aware of the domestical side of it, but we can focus on that after tomorrow night again.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.